Hello everyone. Let me check if I'm live. Just a second. Yes, I guess I'm live. Hi everyone, how are you? I hope you all are doing well. Welcome to another fascinating session from ICSE class 10th physics. Yes, and let me quickly brief you about what all are we going to complete or what all we are going to discuss in this particular session. First of all, let me introduce myself. If you're, kind of watching my YT session for the very first time, let me introduce myself. My name is Kalyan Krishna Awasthi and I'm a physics educator at Unacademy. As far as my qualifications are concerned, I have done my master's in electronics with my area of specialization as digital communication, and right now I'm pursuing my PhD from electronics with my area of specialization as wireless sensor networks. Okay, and I have an experience of more than 12 years for teaching physics. I mean, I've been teaching physics since 2008-9. So, this experience proves quite beneficial for my students because, I have been into it for quite some time and I know what sort of questions they ask in your board examinations. Like, see, this particular YT session is specifically targeted for ICSE class 10 students. And, a number of students, they think that the kind of natural vibrations and forced vibrations, it's a very easy topic. I mean, you normally rush through this topic in 5 to 10 minutes, just you kind of learn 2 3 definitions. But at times when in board examinations, like it was in 2019, they ask tricky question. I mean, it's a very awkward situation. You're damn sure that you'll be scoring, say, for that matter, 2 or 3 marks in the chapter, and you're not able to get this question right. Okay, so in physics, never take a chapter lightly. Every chapter, if understood thoroughly, is a very interesting one, and you'll get to know this in this particular session. I mean, once the session starts and we traverse across the topics of the session, you'll get to know that, see, natural, damped, forced, resonance, all these topics are very interesting and they're very relatable as well. I mean, we can see the examples in the real world. Okay, so I've already told you about the topic for the session. These are the topics that I'm going to cover, and this is my YT code. I mean, if you've not watched any of the special classes or you wish to subscribe at Unacademy, you can use my code. I'm again writing my code. It's Kalyan Live, right? This is my code, and if you opt this code, if you use this code, you'll be getting a 10% flat discount on the overall subscription. I mean, whatever subscription you opt for, you'll be getting an over and above discount of 10%. And trust me, that's not a bad deal. I mean, the offers already are very competitive. The rates are very, very, very subsidized. That too, you're getting a 10% off. It adds value to this. Okay, so, and one more thing, we are at Telegram as well. I mean, you can follow Unacademy Champions on Telegram. The link is there in the description box of this particular video. Just click on that link and join us on the Telegram. You'll be periodically updated with all the upcoming offers. I mean, each and everything you'll be updated then and there. And well, if you're watching this particular lecture on YouTube and you haven't subscribed us on YouTube, well, that's the time to go for it. Just subscribe the channel, like it, and yes, don't forget to click the bell icon, because once you click the bell icon, this one, you'll be notified for all the upcoming sessions. I mean, for every session that we have, you'll be notified. Okay, so this is what we have to cover: natural and damped vibrations, and the second thing is forced vibrations. So before starting the topic, let me quickly brief you about what these basic topics are. See, natural vibrations mean, I mean, the body is naturally moving. Any other force is not hampering the prospect of the motion. Okay, I mean, if for example you have a natural tendency to study for, say, 2 hours, and there is no disturbing force, so in all possibility you'll continue to study for 2 hours. That is your natural frequency. I mean, that is your natural tendency to study 2 hours. But in case a disturbing element comes, or maybe you are detached you get attracted to something, you're disturbed, so obviously your natural frequency will change. So what nature tells us, if we want something to be happening in a natural way, we don't need any force to kind of hamper its prospects. I mean, we cannot expect to have a force against it, because it's but natural. If we are having a force against the natural cause, you know in terms of physics, I would say the amplitude decreases, or technically we would rather say that the efficiency decreases. Yes, it does happen. Okay. And then you have got damped vibrations. I mean, if your natural tendency is to go for 2 hours a day, and you are under the influence of some other force, or maybe out of these 2 hours your efficiency will actually be, say, maybe 1 hour and 45 minutes. Okay, that means the output is damped, it's not natural. Natural is like idealistic value. I mean, you ought to study for 2 hours, that too very, very, very properly. That is your natural tendency. What is damped vibration? Okay, you were supposed to study for 2 hours, but unfortunately, or maybe because of any reason, the actual output was, say, 1 hour and 45 minutes. That is your damped vibrations. Okay, naturally, I mean, I'm talking in a very general aspect. And then comes the forced vibrations. I mean, because of any reason, of or maybe your parents, you didn't score well in your exams, and your parents are at your home, and they're saying, okay, Mr. X, or maybe let's take Shashwat. Okay, Shashwat, I mean, you didn't perform well in the exam, so now you have to study for 3 hours or maybe 4 hours. Hota hai nahi? I mean, our parents compel us. Okay, no, falana is, I mean, your cousin studies for 4 hours, and see, he has scored 95 out of 100, and you are studying for, say, 1 hour a day, and you've scored only 72. So if the natural action is under the influence of some external force, see, you cannot say no to, I mean, you cannot say no to your parents every time, no to your guardians every time. So you will actually study for 4 hours, but will it be having the same efficiency? I don't think so. I mean, it's not going to have the same efficiency like it used to have if you would have studying through your natural frequency. Yes, it does happen. Tell me in the chat box. I mean, it does happen. Na? If our parents or our guardians say that you have to study for 3 hours, and you have an appointment, I mean, you have to go somewhere, and maybe you have planned it for a 1 hour session, and the session extends. So that happens in the classes as well. I mean, in the online classes, when the teachers say, okay, I'm extending the session for the next 20 minutes, you say, oh my god, now we have to bear him for the next 20 minutes more. So this is how it goes. I mean, the efficiency does decrease. Okay, it happens, yes or no? I just want an affirmation. It's a very practical thing. See, first of all, I'm relating the concepts with the physical world. I mean, whatever you experience around you, and then I'll be dwelling into the technical aspect. I mean, first of all, you should understand what actually is happening. Yes, all of you. Those welcome everyone who has just joined. Shall we have a small intro? I mean, hi everyone. Hello. Hi. Okay. So I guess now you've understood what practically these words mean. I mean, natural, damped, and forced. Yes. Fine. Chalo. Now let me quickly tell you about this offer. I mean, Unacademy has come up with a very exciting offer, and it's very, very, very good. It shouldn't be missed. The offer is from 25th to 27th of Jan. I mean, for the 3 days. 1 day is already passed. Today and tomorrow. I mean, 25, 26, and 27. If you're taking a subscription for a year, you'll be getting 6 months subscription absolutely free. I mean, that's a great deal. And on top of that, if you're using this code, I mean, Kalyan Live, okay? If you're using this code, you'll be getting a 10% additional discount, okay? So I guess if you're planning to go with it, this is the right time to go. Now let's start this session. See, I've just told you about natural vibrations, and what I was telling you, I mean, if the body is set free to oscillate or set free to vibrate, without any external force, then the body undergoes natural vibrations. The very first thing that you have to keep in mind is, if we are talking about natural vibrations, or rather natural oscillations, we have to be pretty sure that no external force is acting on the body. Yes, I mean, if any external force starts acting on the body, the vibrations, the oscillations are no more natural, right? Right, Mayank? For natural vibrations, there has to be no external force. And if a body is vibrating, if a body is undergoing natural oscillations, it is vibrating in a natural way, we call that frequency at the natural frequency of that particular body. I mean, if a pendulum takes, say, 5 seconds to complete a to and fro motion, and there is no external force, then I'll say that the frequency is 5 hertz. Okay, it's very simple. It's very simple and very relatable. Now the problem is, what are the factors that can affect the natural vibration? I mean, that's very important. Can anyone tell me what are the factors that can affect the natural vibrations? I mean, they can either increase or maybe decrease the amplitudes of the vibration. How can we do so? Any of you? I mean, how can we do so? And what are the parameters that can change this? See, let us try and understand this with a very relatable example rather. For example, let us take let us take my example. For example, if my weight is 84 kgs, okay, and we have some other student whose weight is, say, 40 kg, right? And both of us start to run. I mean, we are running between 2 points, and we have to, a third person has to check our frequency. I mean, how quickly rather do we complete this process? So how can we see this? I mean, how can we judge this? I mean, if we two are moving between 2 points continuously, obviously the student who is weighing 40 kg has to do less efforts. Yes, I mean, he'll take less time. Why? Because his mass is less. I'll obviously be tired maybe in 2 to 3 rounds, and I'll say, okay, I won't be able to complete it in that particular time. Or maybe if I wish to complete it in that particular time, I mean, I have to make extra effort. So these are the external parameters, right? Specifically the shape and the size of the body. The shape and the size of the body at times hampers the prospects of a natural vibration. Yes, it's very basic thing. Size does matter. I mean, for example, if I take a pendulum having this much large ball and I set it in oscillation, I set it in vibration with the same force which I was applying for a pendulum whose ball was this big, it's obvious that with the same force, the ball having the larger size will take more time to complete the oscillation. I mean, the frequency will change. Yes, it will decrease. It is but obvious, right? Come on, I need a thumbs up if you're understanding the concept. All of you. In case of natural vibrations, the shape and size of the body is extremely important. That is what I want to convey. Yes? Okay. Now, the question is, let us understand the technical part. Let's see how technically it goes. I mean, we're talking about natural vibrations rather. Okay, so what I was saying that let us take an example of this simple pendulum. This is a simple pendulum. And it is undergoing natural vibration. I mean, since the pendulum is undergoing natural vibrations, what we have to do is we have to neglect external forces. Yes, we have to neglect the external forces, which involves air resistance as well. Now see, that's the catch. That's the catch. I mean, you cannot have free vibration. I mean, you cannot have a natural vibration even if air is producing resistance. So the basic logic is that a natural vibration should occur in an absolutely zero resistive environment. Okay, And how can we create a zero resistive environment? By obviously the air will be there. Whatever body is moving in the air will offer a resistance. Yes or no? Yes. I mean, whenever a body is moving in the air is ought to offer the resistance. But what we are saying that in a natural vibration there has to be no resistive force. So ideally speaking, if I wish to create a natural vibration on a simple pendulum, what I have to do is I have to take the pendulum in vacuum. Yes, I mean a place where there is no air, because I cannot even afford air resistance. That is the problem with natural vibrations. Okay, but my question is not about the resistance. I mean, not about either the air resistance or whatever resistance they are having. I am saying, if I displace the bob of the pendulum from here, and for that matter, let us suppose that the bob reaches this particular point. See this. And it is displaced by an angular displacement theta. Now tell me, if there is nothing, I mean there is no air resistance, for the bob to come to its original position, there has to be a force in this direction. Yes? Yes? Yes or no? I mean, if we are expecting the bob to come back towards original position, it does require a force, and that particular force is called restoring force. Yes, that's called restoring force. So whenever we are concerned with the natural vibrations, if a question comes up in your board examinations, does any force act when a body is undergoing natural vibrations, and you'll definitely be getting an option no force acts. So that is not the correct answer. If restoring force is there in the option, restoring force has to be the correct answer. See, without restoring force, the body cannot regain its original position. We have had a very basic idea of what restoring force is. This is mg cos theta, and this is mg sin theta. Okay, so we'll see how this sin theta cos theta comes in maybe class 11th, not this time around, but this mg sin theta, this acts as a restoring force. Okay, so you have to be very particular. In natural vibrations, we have one force, and that is restoring force, right? And what are the other special features? The other special feature is that in natural vibration, you don't have a resistive force. So you have to keep both the things in mind very properly, right? See, I've mentioned this in the slides as well. I mean, if you're following the lecture, just pause it, note down this point. It's very, very, very important, okay? Right? It's very important. I mean, you cannot afford to miss this point. It's damn important, right? So if I ask you, can you tell me any example of a natural vibration? I mean, see, I have given one example, that of a simple pendulum. And see, we know that the time period of a simple pendulum is t is equal to 2 pi under root L upon G. And n is equal to 1 upon t. We know that the frequency is the reciprocal of the time period. And we are bothered about the frequency. Vibrations means frequency. I mean, frequency is the decisive factor. So n will be 1 upon 2 pi under root G by L. So what we get is n is, this is what happens. Okay, so we have to remember a few questions as well. I mean, in the board examinations, you do get questions on these topics, right? Okay, any other example? Yes, I mean, if I suspend a mass from a spring, right? If I suspend a mass from a spring, I mean, let us take this way. And the spring is having mass. So what spring has? Spring also has a restoring force. And that storing force is nothing but F is equal to minus kx, right? And the time period here is, for this, the time period is t is equal to 2 pi under root m upon k, right? This is the time period for the oscillations when a mass is hanged from a spring. And as far as the frequency is concerned, n is equal to 1 upon 2 pi under root k upon m. So this is the natural frequency. See, in board examinations, you do get a question on that. I mean, at times of late, they have started asking questions on this. Okay? Yes? Fine. You can take the example of a tuning fork as well. What we do, if we take a tuning fork and we put it, we hit it on the rubber pad, we see that the tuning fork starts vibrating, and these are natural vibrations. But my question is, if I take a simple pendulum to vacuum and I hit it that way, if I displace it from its original position and set it in oscillation, will the pendulum undergo natural oscillations till infinity, or it might stop sometime? Can anyone tell me? Any one of you? See, if we take a simple pendulum to infinity, to vacuum, and set it in motion, in vacuum, there is no air, no resistive force. In that case, the pendulum will continue to move with its natural vibrations for infinite time. The pendulum will never stop. It might sound awkward, but technically that's true. If I've displaced the pendulum from its mean position and I've set it free, then the pendulum will keep on moving to and fro about its mean position till infinity. It will never stop. Okay, be very particular with this thing. Every body, if it is set in the set into vibration through its natural frequency, see, a non-resistive force is there. There is no resistance offered by anyone, so the motion will continue. Yes. We have one more very exciting example of flute. Bansuri that we call in Hindi. Flute. What happens? Have you seen? A flute, it has holes. Yes, at different distances. And what happens when a person plays flute? What he does, he alternatively plugs the holes through his fingers. According to the tune, the flute player, he changes its positions of the finger and plugs the air gaps periodically. Yes, see what actually happens when you close this particular hole with your finger, air will flow through it. Yes. Here, in case of flute or any other say organ pipe that undergoes the vibration of the air column, what happens? We hear the sound because of the vibrations that are produced in the air column. And in this case also, the natural frequency is inversely proportional to L. Yes, just make it a point, just make it a note. The same thing happens. You can relate this with another example as well. There are two organ pipes. This happens to be a closed organ pipe, and this happens to be an open organ pipe. Okay, so closed organ pipe, and this is an open organ pipe. What happens? We have got 2 points. We won't be studying this in class 10, but since it is relevant to the topic, so you should rather understand. Okay, we have 2 points. One is node and the other one is antinode. One of the point is always at the state of maximum displacement, and the other one is always at the state of minimum displacement. Minimum here is 0. Okay, so we're not dwelling into that part, but in the ratio of the frequencies are 1:3:5 and so on. You have a question on this. It's a very popular question. They have asked it in the ICSE board examinations a number of times. Okay, so be prepared for that. In case of strings, they have asked it this way. See, this and say this is how it moves, and this is how it is asked. Okay, here the frequency is F, here the frequency is 2F, and here the frequency is 3F. Okay, there is a very popular question and they do ask it in your board examination, so just go through this. I'll be discussing this in detail in the special classes that we have, and in the plus classes, so I'll be doing questions as well. Okay, So I guess that is all about natural vibrations. Yes, let's see the displacement time graph of the natural vibrations before we move on to the other part. See, what does this displacement time graph say? Let us decode the graph through this a simple pendulum example. Let us suppose the body started from its mean position. This was the mean position. And let us suppose that the body started from its mean position. And see, what will happen? The pendulum will move up to its extreme position. This is, say, extreme position. Yes. Yes. And then it will come back and it will move this way again to its extreme position. Yes. This is how a simple pendulum will move. This again is your extreme position, right? See, this is your mean position, right? And say this is the displacement. This is the displacement, okay? And in case of a simple pendulum, or we'll be studying it in detail in simple harmonic motion, the maximum displacement is the amplitude, okay? The maximum displacement that you talk about is the amplitude. So now what we have to do is we have to replicate this motion graphically, okay? And that particular graph is popularly known as displacement time graph, okay? For any body undergoing natural vibration, as soon as we decode the motion and plot it graphically, we get a displacement time graph. So let's try and see how things are happening this way. See, the body starts from this point, the mean position. It is the reference point. So see, I'm starting from this point, right? Now, as I have applied a force, the body starts moving up, fine. The amplitude keeps on increasing, it attains a maximum value. See, this is the maximum value. Let us call this A, this is A, this is B. So when the ball has reached point A, this is the case of maximum displacement. Yes. And what is maximum displacement? Maximum displacement is nothing but amplitude. So we get an amplitude here. Now the bob cannot move further. The ball cannot move beyond this point. So it will start coming back. When it will start coming back, it will retrace its position. See, it is coming back. It reaches to this point again. And now the bob moves the either way. And again it reaches a maximum position. So this is how the graph keeps on going, okay? So this is how you can plot a displacement time graph of a body that is undergoing natural vibrations, or rather natural oscillations. I hope the logic is pretty much clear to everyone, all of you. Yes? Okay. I mean, if they ask you to decode it, I mean, this example can be understood from any damn method. I mean, if you set any body under vibration, the graph will look like this only, okay? It will not change. Fine. Chalo, now let me tell you about the damped vibration. Now see, if I take the same pendulum, just concentrate. I mean, initially my pendulum was in vacuum. I mean, if I was talking about the natural vibrations, the pendulum was in vacuum. It was in vacuum, no air. No air, matlab no air resistance as well, and the motion was natural. Now let's see what happens if I take the same pendulum. I mean, if I bring the same pendulum in air, what will happen? Just try and visualize it. I mean, this was the bob. I did apply a force here. The bob moves this way. It returns back. It moves this way. It returns back. Now the amplitude is a little bit lower, lower. And ultimately, what happens? The motion of the bob ceases. Now, why does it happen that every time the bob reaches its extreme position, the new amplitude is little less than the earlier one? I mean, why does this happen? Can anyone explain on this? Anyone in the session? See, initially I was having this bob in, for that matter, let me call it vacuum, where there was no resistive force, and now I'm having this bob in air, and what I practically observe is that every time, I mean with the passing time, if I'm not kind of ensuring that the vibrations remain constant, what I see is that every time the bob moves out, comes back, the amplitude is decreasing. Can anyone in the session tell me why does this happen? I mean, why does this amplitude changes? Yes, anyone? Anyone can explain why does this happen? See, let me explain. There is air, okay, or maybe any medium. I mean, it's not necessary that the pendulum is moving in air only. I mean, we can have this motion in any arbitrary medium having different refractive indices. What I'm trying to say, the medium here creates a resistive force, right? I'm talking about damped vibrations. I mean to say here, the medium creates a resistive force. I mean, what happens? See, every time the bob moves to the extreme position and tries to return back, it has to face an air drag, right? Air drag. I mean, we call it air drag or air resistance. Okay, every time the bob moves, it has to face air drag or air resistance. Now, this resistive force always acts against the motion of the body. And what will it do? It will try to deteriorate the amplitude. I mean, every time the bob moves away, the next time the bob goes, it will no longer be able to reach at that particular point. Why? Because there was a resistance force. I mean, there was a resistance that was offered by the medium. I mean, we can have resistance from anywhere, but since we are discussing damped vibrations, so I've taken the very basic example of air. Okay, so now you understand what a damped vibration is. I mean, damped vibrations occur in the presence of resistive forces. Okay, and what happens? The amplitude of the periodic vibrations decreases. We have just seen that every time the pendulum moves up and it comes back, it never reaches its original position. Yes? Is it? All of you? Such vibrations are called damped vibrations. So now see, very important point, very important point as in terms of your board examination. So how many forces are there in damped vibration? See, restoring force is there 100%. There is no question about this, because if the restoring force is not there, the body which is displaced from its mean position will never return to its mean position. I mean, if you hit a tuning fork and see, and it gets vibrated and there is no restoring force, then the throngs will be permanently elongated. Does this happen? No, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. The body always regains its original position, and this is because of the restoring force. So the absence of restoring force is out of question. Yes, a restoring force has to be there. You cannot have a motion without a restoring force. But in case of damped vibrations, we have got one more force, that is resistive force. This is a new thing for us. So next time around, if somebody asks us how many forces are there in damped vibrations, we have to reply that there are two types of, there are two forces acting on a body when a body is undergoing damped vibrations. And what are those forces? The first is a resistive force. And where does this come from? More often than not, it comes from the medium in which the body is vibrating. And what is the second force? The second force is the restoring force. Okay, this force was present in natural vibrations either. I mean, the force was present in natural vibrations as well. Okay, so don't get confused with this. This force was very much there in natural vibrations as well, right? Fine. Now tell me, if a body is moving and it is continuously acted upon by an opposing force, what will happen to the energy of the body? I mean, will it be same? Will it keep on decreasing? I mean, how will it change? See, the body was moving and it was continuously acted upon by a resistive force. And what does this resistive force do? It decreases the amplitude. So how will the graph look like? I mean, the graph should definitely look like this, right? See, initially, let me relate it with the simple pendulum example. I mean, the bob started with this, right? The next time it was this. The next time it was this, and ultimately the motion ceases. So can this be replicated through this particular graph? Yes. This is displacement, this is time. As the time passes, the displacement of the body keeps on decreasing. Yes. This is all about damped vibrations. We'll be doing the questions. First of all, let me tell you about the interesting batches that Unacademy is offering. I mean, Unacademy is offering 2 batches for ICSE class 10 students. The very first batch is the Mavericks batch, right? It's the Mavericks batch. And the best part about the Mavericks batch is that the mode of delivery here is English. I mean, the content in the Mavericks batch will be delivered in English. Okay. Okay, the batches have already commenced. They've started from 17th of Jan, but in all possibility, you can join, because once you join a particular batch, all the classes that have already commenced for that particular batch will be unlocked. Okay. And why am I why am I suggesting you to join is because if you take the subscription for class 10th, you'll be getting the subscription for class 11th to 12th free. I mean, that's the catch. That is the catch. You pay for 10th and you get subscription for 11th and 12th absolutely free, right? This is the best part of the Mavericks batch. I mean, this offer is not going to stay for a very long time. I mean, the batches have just started. It's just in the initial phases. Don't miss this opportunity. You never know, the next time around you have to shell maybe double the amount that you are getting. I mean, that you'll be shelling for class 10th and getting 11th, 12th free. You never know. I mean, look at the pace at which the online education is blooming. And with Unacademy, they have got the best faculty members. This is the best part. I mean, all the faculty members, all the educators at Unacademy, they're very good. They're very experienced and they're very good. And at this particular pricing, if you're getting to learn from these teachers, I mean, this is what you should. You cannot ask for anything more than that. Okay, that is what I want to say. And in case you wish to subscribe, you can use this code Kalyan Live. This is my code. Okay, so you can use this code and get a 10% discount over and above the pricing. I mean, I told you in the beginning of the session as well that the Republic Day offer is going on from 25th, 26th and 27th of Jan, where they are offering 6 months extended, offer price. I mean, you have to subscribe for 12 months and you'll be getting the subscription for 18 months. Whatever time you're opting for, an additional 6 months is there for you. On top of that, if you're using this code, you're getting 10% additional discount. And for plus courses, I mean, if you subscribe for entire 10th, you'll be getting 11th and 12th absolutely free. And there is a catch. I mean, they have one more batch. Okay, if you're not comfortable with English, you want the contents to be delivered in Hindi, then we have this Udan batch. And in this Udan batch, the entire content is delivered in Hindi. Okay, so you have got both the options. I mean, if you are comfortable with English, go for the Mavericks batch. If you are comfortable with Hindi, go for the Udan batch. Either ways, you'll be getting the same very offer. And these are the faculty members who are teaching in Udan batch. All the faculty members are very experienced and are quite expert in their respective fields. Okay, fine. Okay, now let me tell you about the unique features. This was about the offers that are going on, but before understanding the offer, you should know what are the unique qualities that Unacademy subscription feature has. The very first thing is that you can learn it live from your home. Fine. See, it has been doing the rounds that online teaching is not good because you don't get to interact with the teachers live. Unacademy is bridging this gap. I mean, this is the best thing. It's not that you cannot interact. I mean, you'll find thousands and lakhs of educators at YT or maybe other platforms who are providing recorded lectures. But Unacademy is giving you a chance to interact with the educator live. I mean, if it is a recorded lecture, you have seen the lecture, you have just have a doubt, you have written it, you have mentioned the doubt in the comment section, the educator has seen, I don't know whether he or she is willing to reply or not, the comment remains there forever. I mean, it never gets resolved. But this will not happen with Unacademy. Why? Because in the plus classes you have two options. I mean, in the special classes as well, you have the option, but a plus class has a very unique option. That is, raise your hand. Okay. As soon as you click on the raise your hand option, a call is instantly connected between you and the educator, and it is live. I mean, it's not that the teacher will tell you, okay, I'll see to it, I'll tell you after something, after some time, this is not in your syllabus. No, you can have a word with him and get your doubts resolved. Okay. In the special classes, I mean, there is a plus class and there is a special class as well. That is what I've been telling you all these whiles. If you're not if you're not sure whether to go for the plus class or not, you can try at the special class. At the special class as well, I'll be telling you about the features of the special class in the subsequent slides. But let me first tell you about the Unacademy striking features. So the very first part is you can address a doubt. You can talk to an educator live. That is the best part. That bridges the gap that online education is creating. Second is the unlimited access to the course. I mean, once you subscribe, you will get access to all the courses. I mean, for example, if you're a class 9 student and you want to do some quizzes, you want to do some questions of say +1 level, so you have that access. That is the best part. Educators have already told you, I mean, you have the option to watch these special classes and decide. I mean, no one is compelling you. Just download the Unacademy app, click any of the educator profile, you will get 10 to 12 or maybe 15 to 20, maybe 30 special classes. I mean, special classes are absolutely free. Like this is a YT session, we have a special class as well. Like today as well, I have a special class. Let me check the schedule. Yes, I have a special class for class 9th. Yes, I have a special class for class 9th from 7:45 p.m. If you're watching this session and you're interested, you can just download the Unacademy app and you can attend that class, right? Just see how things happen, okay? And this is what I find the best. Now, this is, if you're including this feature in your portal, you have to have guts. I mean, this is the best part. Every fourth session is a doubt clearing session. Now see, it's not that the educator is continuously teaching you, telling you the concepts, but not clearing the doubts. Now imagine there is a doubt clearing session going on. You have the option to connect with the educator live. You have raised a query, the educator has replied, but you still have a problem. I mean, you're not convinced with it. You're not sure. You're not able to understand it. What can you do? I mean, you can instantly raise a hand, a call will be connected, you'll be connected live with the educator, and you can get your doubt resolved. See how easy it is. I mean, there's no glitch in it. The only thing is you just have to be present there and you have to take the subscription for the plus courses, right? Fine. So I have hope after this lecture, a number of students will do. No issues on that. Now, they have this additional mentorship and guidance facility as well, which they have added off late. All the study materials are available. You can access them. Well, again, see, live test series and practice tests. I mean, you get to attend the live test series. I mean, the test series is live. You will be competing with the students across India. See, this will bring the best in you, right? And this again is my code, Kalyan Live. If you wish to take this subscription, you can use this code. You'll be getting 10% discount, right? look at the pricing part. I mean, just look at the pricing part. For 6 months, it's 1500 per month, only 1500 per month. Okay, it's 1500 per month for 6 months. As you go for a higher duration subscription, you can easily see that the amount keeps on decreasing. I mean, you were shelling 1500 per month for a 6 month subscription, and you'll be shelling only 771 for 42 months and only 750 for a 48-month subscription. And on top of that, if you're using this code, you'll be getting 10% discount. Yes. These are the details of my special classes. I mean, these are already over. These are the next classes. I mean, on 27th, that is tomorrow, I'll be having a special class, then 29th, and then 31st. So if you wish, you can attend any of these special classes and decide it yourself. I mean, if you are attending this session, the topics are same. Just see the difference in the special class. Fine. I mean, you can clearly see that the content of the special class, and you, in case you're watching this particular session, just enroll for the special class. Now this is how you can watch my special classes. What you have to do is you just have to download the Unacademy Learner app. See, don't get confused. Download Unacademy Learner app. Get started. Enter your 10-digit mobile number. Enter your name, and you'll be diverted to this particular page where you have to select your goal. Okay. I hope the goal will be from class 6 to 12. Just click on this particular tab and select your class ICSE 10. Language, obviously ICSE board, so rather it will be English, and then you have to click on the next. Okay. Here you will get the link for the special class. I mean, this is where you can get the link for this special class. Okay. You can also click on the notify me tab. I mean, you will be notified 10 minutes before the class commences. And in case you wish to watch the other special classes as well, you can use this code Kalyan Live. This is my code. Once you use this code, all my classes will be unlocked, right? So this was all. Now let's get back to what we are good at. Okay, fine. So let's start with a very basic question. Let's see who gets it right. I want the answers in the comment section. Air resistance is neglected and a wire is plugged in the middle. It will undergo. I mean, you've got 4 options. I'm giving you 30 seconds. I can see few of you in the session. Let's see who gets it right. Just see the question very carefully. I mean, before replying, just go through the question and then reply. Okay. The question says that air resistance is neglected and a wire is plugged in the middle. It will undergo. You've got 4 options: natural vibrations, resonant vibrations, damped vibrations, or forced vibrations. See, let's see how we can crack it. See, the very first line of the sentence says that the air resistance is neglected. I mean, there is no resistive force. Okay. And we have just studied that if there is no resistive force, the motion of the body is indeed natural. I mean, the body undergoes natural vibrations or natural oscillations, right? So what will happen? The body will undergo natural oscillations. Done. So if we neglect the air pressure, if we neglect the air resistance and we plug a wire in the middle, it will start undergoing natural oscillations. So A is the correct option. Now let's see second question. What does this question says? See, whenever you have to select a correct statement, you have to analyze every statement. I mean, don't be in a haste and go for a statement in a haste. The very first statement says natural vibrations have both resistive and restoring force. We have just studied that restoring force is not present in this resistive force is not present in natural vibrations. Restoring force is there. Yes. See, restoring force is present everywhere. I mean, if the body is not having restoring force, it will never regain its position. So this cannot be a correct statement. Yes. Let's see the second statement. What does it say? It says damped vibrations have only restoring force. Okay, no. Damped vibrations most significant characteristic is the existence of resistive force. So this cannot be correct either. Natural vibrations have only yes, that's the correct statement. A natural vibration has only restoring force. We do not see any resistive force in case the body is undergoing natural vibrations. So C is the correct option, right? Now let's see one more question. Natural frequency of an air column in a pipe at one end of length is 17 centimeter is itna. Okay, fine. See, you are given L1, which is 17 centimeter, and N1, which is 500 hertz. Let's try and decode it. The question says, it's a very interesting question and a very important question for your board exams. I mean, they have asked this question twice. Obviously, every time the values were changed, but the concept was exactly the same. The question says, natural frequency of an air column in a pipe fixed at one end of length 17 centimeter is 500 hertz. Okay, so for L1, I have got a natural frequency. The question further says, at what length of air column a tuning fork of frequency itna will resonate? Okay. They are saying that N2 is 250 and they are saying at what particular length this will happen. So I have just told you in the preceding slides that N is inversely proportional to L, right? Or we can write it as N into L is always constant. Yes, like you have understood that? Yes. So what I can do is N1 L1 is equal to N2 L2. Now put the values. N1 is 500, L1 is 17, N2 is 250 and L2 is what we have to find. What is the value of L2 here? L2 is 500 upon 250 into 17. 252s are. So what we get is L2 is equal to 34 centimeters, right? So C has to be the correct answer. If C in the question, it's a very good question, okay? They always ask these questions in your board examinations. So I hope and wish that you go through these questions very thoroughly, okay? Let's see what we have in store now. Okay, we were supposed to discuss the forced vibrations as well. Okay, fine. I've given you a very brief idea of what a forced vibration is. I mean, you used to study for 1 hour, but your father, I mean, maybe your guardians were at home and you didn't score well in the exam, and now they're standing outside your room and telling you that, okay, Ayushi, you have to study for 2 hours now. What will Ayushi do? Ayushi has to study. I mean, she has no other option. Yes? I mean, the door is open. The guardians are continuously having an eye on her and checking if she's studying or not. So what will Ayushi do? Ayushi is compelled to follow her guardian's words and study for 2 hours. Okay? So, what was the natural tendency for Ayushi? I mean, Ayushi had a natural tendency to study for 1 hour. So 1 is Ayushi's natural frequency. Okay. But her parents are standing and they forced her to study for 2 hours. What ultimately happens? Ayushi has to study for 2 hours. So, despite being 1 as the natural frequency, now Ayushi will be performing an oscillation at which frequency? Come on, at which frequency? At a frequency of 2 hertz. Okay. So what happens in case of forced vibrations? What happens? We have an external force and the body starts vibrating with the frequency of the external force. Okay, yes. Now a very basic and a very popular question that is asked: how many forces are there in a forced vibration? See, in natural you had restoring force. Okay, in damped the restoring force was there, no doubt about that. But apart from this restoring force, there was one resistive force as well. Now, in case of forced vibrations, see, restoring is there, okay, it was there in damped as well. Resistive is there, okay, it was there in damped as well. But we do have an external force as well. Yes, we do have an external force as well. So how many forces are there in a forced vibration? In a forced vibrations, we have three forces: a restoring force, a resistive force, and an external force. Okay? Yes, all of you? I hope the logic is clear to everyone. Yes? Fine. So these are the 2 points that I've just discussed. And see, Ayushi started studying for 2 hours. So just go through the third point. When an external force is applied to the body, it no longer vibrates with its natural frequency. Rather, it starts vibrating with the frequency of the external force. Okay? That external force, in this case, is called the driving force. Okay? We call it driving force. You have to be very particular with the nomenclature part. I mean, in these type of chapters, they do ask a theoretical question. They will ask you, what is a driving force? So you have to answer that when a body undergoes a forced vibration, then the external force that is applied on the body is called the driving force, and ultimately the body starts vibrating with the frequency of the driving force. Okay? Yes, all of you, is it clear to everyone? I hope you're finding the session good. It's very informative rather. Okay? Now here's the catch. Just see point 2. I mean, just see point 2. It's a very important point. Point 3 rather. In this point, you can see that in a forced vibration, you have got restoring force, a resistive force, and an external force. The restoring force was bringing the body back to its original position. Yes, that's the work of the restoring force. What this resistive force does is it decreases the amplitude. The resistive force decreases the amplitude of the oscillation. Yes. Now, in forced vibrations, there is a resistive force as well. So the amplitude of the vibration should decrease. So if we want to make it sure that the amplitude does not change, so what we have to do is we have to apply an external periodic force. I mean, because of the resistance, the amplitude has decreased. So what we did, we applied an external force. And what this force did, this force ensured that the oscillation is intact. I mean, the amplitude is intact. Okay? And when a body undergoes such kind of vibration, such kind of motion, we call it sympathetic vibrations. Sympathetic vibrations, very important. Again, see, these terms, when they ask in the examinations and you don't know them, and when you get back, you just see the book or your notebook, you get to realize, अरे मेरे को तो ये आता था. So this is where the study material of Unacademy is important. You can watch any of my special classes and just see the quality of the slides that I am having. I mean, every important point is mentioned, and whatever you are seeing on YT and special is just the 30 to 40%. If I'll show you my plus class slides, I mean, you'll say that you don't have to purchase a book as well. I mean, there is no need to purchase a book. Everything has been systematically written in points. Even the derivations are done in a stepwise manner. That makes it very, very easy for you to memorize. Okay? So I guess that is it for today's session. Yes, let's have a quick recap. This session started with the basic concept of natural frequency. I've told you, rather I should say natural vibrations. I mean, I should abide by the syllabus proposed by the council. Natural vibrations. The natural vibrations, it had restoring force. Okay. Then what we did, we studied damped vibrations. It has restoring plus resistive, and ultimately the session concluded with forced vibrations, which had R plus external. Okay, and we have discussed a number of examples as well. I'm again telling you, if you wish to take the subscription, this is my code, Kalyan Live. You can use this code and take the subscription, right? So what are you waiting for? If you haven't downloaded the app yet, just go and download the Unacademy app, right? In terms of Unacademy, let's crack it. Fine. I guess the session is over for today. Hope to see you again in the next session. Till then, stay healthy, stay safe, and yes, please don't move out unless it is very important. Take proper care of your health. I mean, wear mask. That's very important. You should wear mask rather. Okay, I guess that's it for today. Thanks.